Hi everybody, it is April and I'm in my craft room, and today we are going to take a walk through the fantastic forest, and we're going to catch us some dragonflies and butterflies. We're going to put them on a quilt. Everybody, get out your nets. I have had this fat quarter bundle for quite a while. Let's just say I've been hoarding it, and it is time for the shackles to come off. Okay, if you like butterflies, you're gonna like this. I'm gonna make you wait a minute to see the fabric. The pattern that I am using is called Fat Quarter Cubes Quilt Pattern, and it is from Fat Quarter Shop. They have the best free patterns. So let me show you the fabric. So after seeing the different fabrics, you can see why I was kind of hoarding it. I did neglect to tell you the name. It is by Robert Kaufman, and it's called Fantastic Forest. I need 18 fat quarters. My collection has 19. Usually I would struggle with the one fat quarter that I wasn't going to include. Not with this collection. I can tell you exactly which one I will not be cutting apart. This one. This is awesome. I love it. Let's get to cutting. So there are going to be 12 fat quarters that I cut the same way and 6 fat quarters that I cut the same way. I need background fabric, which means I'm going to have to find something that will bring all these colors together. First I thought yellow. I've got yellow in here, or it's kind of an orangey yellow, so I don't really want to use yellow. And then I thought blue. Nope, I have blue. And then I thought green. Nope, there's green. Can't even do white because there's white, and I don't want that white colorway to get lost. So there is a purple and it's not really a red, let me show you. It's almost a berry kind of color. And then there's orange, but see, I've got the orange with I'm gonna go with fireflies. So I'm thinking purple or a red. Also see the butterfly in the middle is a red, and there's a ladybug. You know it's going to break my heart to have to use red because I love red. This quilt is pretty big, you know, in April standards. It's 66.5 by 87.5. I don't know if it matters how I divide up my fat quarters. I don't see any rules. So I think I will just count to 12, count to 6, and get to cutting. Let me show you the diagrams. It's a Miss Maxine. Maxine can help me count. So this is how I'm going to cut 6 of my fat quarters. And then this is how I'm going to cut 12. My background fabric, I need 8 3.5 by 18.5 inch rectangles. So the background fabric is what's going to go in between my blocks. It looks like it should come together pretty quickly. I'm going to count some fat quarters, make some fat quarter stacks, and let's do some cutting. I've shown you the cutting diagrams, so now I'm going to show you how I cut them. Now, I have a secret weapon, And my secret weapon are the 60mm rotary blades from Fabric Cut. These things are made of titanium, and they are awesome. I cannot describe to you how smoothly this cuts. All I can do is show you, but until you feel, it's like cutting through butter. I know that's very cliche, but that's exactly what it's like. And they're kind of rainbowing. You know how I love rainbow. Let me show you how I cut the fat quarters and how easily I do it with these titanium blades. I have made stacks of 4 with my fat quarters, and I line them up along the selvage edge. The selvage edge is the straightest part of this cut of fabric. So I lay my fat quarters down, and now I need a straight edge. So I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to line it up, and then I want to make sure that I get all my pieces of fabric. Butter, I'm telling you. So smooth. Now I need to cut 6.5, 6.5, and 2.5. All right, so I've got this straight edge. Now I can measure 6.5. And I'm going to cut. It even sounds different. All right, so I have that 6.5-inch strip. Okay, now I'm going to do another 6.5-inch strip. Okay, so I have this left, and this I want to do 2.5 inches. And I should have plenty. Let's measure 2.5 inches. And there we go. Now these are leftovers. So I have 12 2.5-inch strips. I have 12 6.5-inch strips. And I have 12 more 6.5-inch strips. Now I need to subcut these. Now the 2.5-inch stays the same, so I don't have to do anything with the 2.5-inch. The 6.5-inch gets cut 2 different ways. That's my granddaughter in the background. So this is a stack of 12. Got selvage on one side and the end of the fat quarter on the other. I need one 6.5 by 12.5 rectangle. I need 12 total. And then I can get 4 6.5-inch squares, which would be 48. So I'm going to cut this 12.5 because it's already 6.5. And I think I'm going to cut it in stacks of 4. Just so, actually, you know what I can do? Okay, so I can line these up in shorter stacks. So I'll just divide it into 3 stacks because I believe my ruler is long enough. So the selvages are on this end, so I'm going to line this up on my fabric. I'm going to straighten them out. Very smooth, even though I did a really poor job. But it's okay. All's well that's cut well. All right, so now I need 12.5 inches across. So I'm going to take this ruler, measure 12.5 inches, and they should all be the same. Okay, 12.5. Okay, now I have these here that I need at 6.5 inches. I'm going to take this ruler. I'm going to measure 6.5 inches right on the line that I cut on. So make sure it's 6.5. 1, 6.5. So I've got my 6.5 inch squares and my 12.5 inch squares. Now let's bring the other 6.5 inch cut. Now these are all going to be cut into 6.5 inch squares. So again, I'm going to line them up by the selvage edge. I'm going to put them on a line, divide up into 3 stacks, and that way I can cut them all at the same time, but I don't have all that bulk. That should be my 48. This is my 6.5 by 12. I have 12 of them. And here are 12 2.5 inch strips. All right, let's see what is next on the list. We have all of our fabric cut. No, we don't. Background fabric. So I went to the Busy Lady, and it was her 5th Saturday sale. And I found what I think will be the perfect background fabric for this project. You knew I was going to end up with the red. So this is a red grunge. Let me see if you can see that. It's got some darker red, some, I don't know, it's just got all kinds of colors. But even with this piece of fabric, it looks great. So I think it is going to make a wonderful background for this project. So now let's cut this. This is 2 yards, so it's going to be fun to cut. Let me see. From the background fabric, 8 3.5 by 18 inch rectangles, 14 3.5 by width of fabric strips. That might not be too bad, right? Okay, let's do it. This just gives me more opportunity to use these titanium blades. Okay, and this is by Basic Gray. I am familiar with Basic Gray from scrapbooking. I don't know if any of you all were ever scrapbookers, but Basic Gray had the coolest paper. Well, turns out they have the coolest fabric too. All right, so 2 yards is, you know, quite cumbersome. So let me see if I can straighten it out. Okay, so I will just fold this over. So let's straighten the edge. So the first thing is 8 3.5 by 18 inch rectangles. So with the fabric, I assume is about 40 inches. I should get 2 rectangles out of 1 3.5 by width of fabric cut. So that means I need 4 3.5 inch cuts for my 8 3.5 by 18.5 inch rectangles, and then I need 14 3.5 by width of fabric. So I'm going to cut 18 3.5 by width of fabric strips. I'm going to straighten these out. And I need 2. Yep, we're going to straighten them out. 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 So now that we have all of our fabric cut that we need in order to make this project, we need to make some blocks. We need to make a block that consists of this piece, which is the 6.5 by 12, and then we need a 6.5 by 6.5 inch square. I don't want these two to be the same. So what I need to do is make sure that I'm using 2 different fabrics and that I don't run into a problem where I have the same. The next block I need to make should consist of these 3 6.5 inch blocks. And I want to make sure that I have a little difference between the blocks. So I just wanted to take a moment to do some shout outs and some thank yous, and then we will get back to putting the block for this quilt together. I want to say hi to Kendra, who is a fellow Barbie lover. I sold my collection too, although I did keep some of my prize Barbies because, you know, I just couldn't let them go. And I love the quilt that you're going to give your cousin's granddaughter. I hope that she loves Barbie too. Anna Wolf, love Barbie. I used to have little rooms for the Barbies, and I like how you took your stuff out of the box. I'm not going to take my sewing thing out of the box. It just drives my granddaughter crazy. I also want to do a shout out to Jo. I saw her at the Busy Lady Quilt Shop 5th Saturday sale, and she bought me some coffee. Thank you, Jo. I very much appreciate that. And also I want to say hi to Brenda. She was also at the Busy Lady sale. It was great seeing you too. Johnny, thank you for sharing the flower quilt. It is lovely. Gail, I love that panel. Now I'm going to have to go out and find one. And Bonnie, I can't remember if I told you thank you for the coffee, so if I did, well, you can just say I'm doubly thankful for the coffee. Thank you. On to the quilt block. So now I've got my strips with the 3 6.5 inch blocks and the strip with a 6.5 inch block and a 6.5 by 12 or 12.5 inch block. Hold on, 12.5 inch. All of the blocks are built the same way. You need 2 of your strips with the 6.5 inch by 6.5 inch block attached to the 6.5 inch by 12.5 inch block. And then you need 1 of the 6.5 inch by 3 strips. So let me show you how to build your block. And that's it. I'm going to pre-put together 3 strips and make sure that I don't have any that I don't like the way they're arranged. Does that mean I'm going to not put any of the like patterns together? I wouldn't hold my breath. Doesn't usually happen for me that way, but that's okay. So I will end up with 12 of these blocks, and then I will sew them together, and then I'll come back and we can arrange them on the design wall. I have my 12 blocks, and they are really close to 18.5 by 18.5. Let's put the blocks up on the design wall. I don't know if there's a right or wrong way, and you know what? I'm just going to do them like I want. Yeah, I'm able to go that low without bringing out the stool. So I think I'm going to go ahead and work on these and get those done. But let's see how the background fabric that I picked out looks with this line. I'm a little confused. Here are the strips that I'm supposed to join together and then cut down. Got that. Here are my strips that go in between my blocks. Why did I do this? Am I going to have a scrappy binding? It's 2.5 inches wide. Guess we'll have to wait to see. I like it. It doesn't overpower the bright fabric. Just kind of blends in, and that's really what we want it to do. So let me put all my rows together and then I will be back. So here you can see, normally I am able to put the not quite finished quilt up on my design wall. But once I added these pieces or strips in between my blocks, this thing grew exponentially. Now I need to add the same border all the way around the outside. So I'm going to finish rounding up these butterflies and dragonflies and show you the final quilt really soon. My quilt top is complete. I love the way that this red kind of just brings out the brightness in the blocks that have that same red color. And these remind me of fireflies. I always say in the summertime when you go outside and you see all the fireflies lighting up the field that it's nature's own fireworks show. This quilt, despite its size, came together very quickly. I really like that pattern too, and I will put a link to the pattern in the description below. I will also put a link to these Fabric Hut titanium blades. You can get 45, 65, 28, not 65, 60, or 28. So far, I'm loving these. They help me cut the first time I take a pass at a piece of fabric. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Eat some chocolate and be kind to everyone. Until next time, bye. No, we're not. I don't think that's really the name. Just a moment. Especially for me. 16. So I went to Mount Washington's. It drives my car. Let's put the blocks up on the design wall. It's a whoa. So here is blah. Dragonflies. Blah, blah, blah. Just blah, 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 blah.